Hello, internet friends. I just want to take a minute to talk about some of the things that have been going on and how we can look at them in a more realistic light. Because actually, there's nothing that's being done right now that hasn't been done before, and it's really amazing that these guys think they're going to get away with this rampant manipulation of everything about the election. So, what would you do if you were going to manipulate an election and you wanted to win by cheating and rigging everything, which, by the way, has been going on since Teddy Roosevelt basically tricked the oligarchs into making him president? You know, their idea was to nullify him and all of his progressive leanings by making him the vice president, which they felt was a completely dead-end job. And little did they know, an anarchist, a violent anarchist, you know, like an Antifa type guy, shot McKinley, and then suddenly Roosevelt was a president. So what would you do? The first thing you would do is make sure your opposition is bankrupt. And what have we been seeing with this virus? Okay, a complete lockdown of all small businesses. All right, that's the base of the Republican Party for that matter, and most libertarians. So not only would you want to do that, but you'd want to enrich your friends. And who has benefited most from these lockdowns and from all the mom and pops being closed? We all know it's Amazon, Walmart, and other huge conglomerate multinational companies like that. The second thing you would do is decimate and destroy the belief in election integrity. That's very important because you want to demoralize people and suppress the vote. So we saw all these phony polls, and we saw all this crazy stuff going on with the way they were counting the votes. For instance, not letting somebody from the opposition look at the votes as they are considered to be valid or not. This is just something that's, you know, against every state law for that matter. And especially in the places where it was done, like Pennsylvania, they thought they could change the law at the last second. No, that's not how it works. The third thing you'd want to do is use government offices as a weapon to attack and destroy. Literally use law enforcement as a weapon to go after your opponents with little or no information, little or no real charges. And you'll notice that's what happened in the impeachments. They never charged Trump with a crime. They just said he was, you know, defying Congress, which basically any president could be accused of. And then they took any friend or associate that they could get away with and, you know, put them under the scope, put them under the microscope, tried to frame them up, which is really basically what the FBI generally does. I mean, they're not really protecting us. I think we all can see that now. The third thing you'd want to do is shut down political speech. Clearly this has been done in social media. We saw the complete suppression of this ridiculous laptop and all the mails and evidence that are on it. I've never seen anything like this before. It's very clear from anyone that looks at that evidence that, you know, this guy has been selling us out to the Chinese and other countries for a long time. So you'd want to make everyone think it's rigged and that they can do nothing about it. You know, they've used this public health emergency as much as possible and just completely trying to demoralize people by making it so obvious. You know, Trump rallies bad, riots completely good. You know, you make your donors rich and you use the coronavirus to change the election rules or to, you know, make it look like you had a reason, but actually it's just to flood the system and allow for all these mail-in ballots. Unfortunately for them, they had to do so many of them because there was such a tremendous turnout for Trump that they've overvoted in some places. You know, they've got more votes rather than people that signed in at the polls or, you know, sent in a real ballot. So that's very obvious that there's something wrong there. And, you know, you want to use the courts to neutralize your opponents and, you know, and their allies. So, you know, we've seen this over and over. You know, even now we see them trying to nullify the Trump lawsuits, you know, through their placement of judges. But we'll see how that works out in the end. I don't think it's going to work out well for them. I can't, you know, if we let them get away with this, then we pretty much deserve it. They've used the power of big tech to censor every contrary idea that they didn't like. You know, and the fact checking for ridiculous things, they're going to get sued for that too. You know, the fact checking is so completely biased, and they use semantics to try to switch words around and make like, oh, that's not true. You know, it's just the way they're wording it makes it sound like it's not true. In actuality, in reality, we all know it's true. You know, as an example, I just found out that thousands of people in Georgia, supposed registered voters, used P.O. boxes and commercial address and played them off as a residence. That's just not going to work, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I mean, even if they get it somehow certified and get Joe Biden in, all this stuff's going to be overturned. This is the worst election in American history, and it's the worst one because we know and see what's going on. They're not going to get away with this, and we can't let them. You know, I didn't even vote for Trump. I don't vote anymore because I've been knowing since 2012 that all the elections are rigged. Trump tricked them, got into office because they just completely, you know, thought they were going to win, that he was an idiot. And it allowed them to really screw up. And before they knew it, he was already, you know, the candidate of the Republican Party. And then they still tried to pretend he wasn't going to win. So they didn't have enough time. They didn't have the 4 years to set up this rampant cheating scandal that they've created. You know, and all of these things are traceable. They have a paper trail, like this thing with the people using these commercial addresses and P.O. boxes to say that they're a resident so they can get a vote. Man, this just isn't going to work. And one of the things they do most often is they put so many outrages into every day that you can't concentrate on that one thing that they really did that was wrong. And, you know, they string everything out, and, you know, the little things like somebody voting dead, you know. I mean, yeah, that has an effect in the election. It's completely illegal, but it's probably not the main way they cheated. But they'll try to, you know, make it where it's not so obvious that they cheated, you know. And it doesn't even have to be so widespread. You know, it only had to be in 6 or 7 major cities where they could stuff the ballots enough. This isn't going to work, ladies and gentlemen, and we can't let it work. And we need to fight on and don't give up, you know, because our whole country is in the balance. And I hope to be able to vote again in confidence. But as it is right now, you know, I've been kind of called a lunatic by some people, even in my own family, because I told them, hey, man, the elections are all rigged. That's why I don't vote. Oh, you can't do that. I think everybody knows now, at least all my family, they admit, yeah, man, you were right. This is all rigged. It's a horrible situation. But I think it's one that we can get out of. And we've been in worse situations before, ladies and gentlemen. So I ask you to, you know, to remain robust in your opposition to these things and fight on. Have a nice day.